Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. Sorry for the slight delay. I did say I'm going to stream at 6, but yeah, I had to clean up my computer a bit because it's running out of space, as is usual. Yeah, so right, let me get ready. I'm gonna start in a minute. Let me prepare everything. All right. Hello, Narwhal channel. Heya. Heya as well. All right. Well, let me begin. Oh shit! No, wait. I forgot to start. Am I going to actually need to draw anything? I wonder. I don't think so. Oh yeah, I do want to mention one thing. All right. Okay, so yeah, let's begin. So, welcome to the yeah, I'm just gonna go with paint in case. Yeah. Hello, Tessel as well. So, welcome to the 97th stream. Sorry for the delay again. Such is life. Okay, so this stream is going to be all about implementing motion blur on the wheels, but kind of like a fake motion blur. This is what games used to do back in the day when there was no screen space motion blur. What they used to do is you would simply have multiple textures, and then you would well, I can actually show you because I have these screenshots. So yeah, this is how a blurred wheel looks like. And this is not actually done in like shader, right? It's not some kind of a motion blur, screen space, or anything like that. This is actually the texture. This texture is just I basically pre-made the motion blur, right? I blurred it in Photoshop, and then I just put this texture. But this is just static because this is always on. And yeah, and of course the new thing in Shakedown is that yesterday and today I was working on making new wheels. So now there is actually tarmac, gravel, and ice or snow wheel, which looks completely different than the old one. The old one was actually from back in Finland when it was actually part of this Swedish car, a classic one, and I just recreated that tire, and then I reused it in the WRC car, which is not correct. But yeah, anyway, this is the new thing. So now that I have wheels, right, what I can do now is, because I wanted to do this for a long time, I wanted to implement motion blur. But with the old wheel, it was actually impossible to do this easily because that wheel was actually made in Substance Painter, which I just didn't care about the UV. The UV was all over the place. It was just like smart unwrapped, and you couldn't just easily take a patch and then blur it and take the front part, because it was all over the place. The texture was a chaos. But now I recreated everything with the new textures. Okay, so it's cheap in processing, powering, and it works. It is, yes. And it actually, I think that it even looks better than the motion blur. Screen space motion blur, because, of course, screen space motion blur is you can't do circular spinning things, right? It's very hard to do that. It will always be like stretched linearly, which makes spinning objects look terrible. Actually, I wrote a blog post about it a long time ago. Yeah, I do have to start the browser. I was hoping that I don't need to. Yeah, let me actually find it. Not K motion blur, something like that. And let me actually find an example of old racing game motion blur. Motion. The first thing is like motion blur in game sucks. Nice. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of motion blur. I did like it back when it came out, like in Crisis. Crisis was probably the first game that I had that I saw with object motion blur, or it was screen space motion blur. I can't remember, but it was like, wow, it's so cool. But then since then, I'm not a huge fan of screen space motion blur. I almost always turn it off. But yeah, well, there are no examples that I can find easily. Texture wheel. Yeah, oh, look at that. Here's a great example of why screen space motion blur sucks, right? Because these dots will be stretched in a linear fashion, right? Not by spinning. So yeah, that is the problem, right? And radial, I don't know if this is it. Radial blur. Maybe there is. I'm pretty sure that there are some examples of textures from old games. I remember seeing it online back when I was modding Refactor and stuff. I mean, this is how you would implement blur in Refactor. Oh, by the way, this is it. This is my blog post that I wrote about motion blur, why motion blur sucks. And yeah, how do you do correct motion blur for fast rotating objects? And I had this like, oh, okay. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. Oh, here is an example of old old style of motion blur, right? You simply have one texture for static, or, well, this is not static, this is slide motion. And then there's speedier and even faster. Speedier, yeah, that's not a word. Yeah, this is basically what I'm going to do now. I'm going to implement switching between these textures, and I don't know, I could have 3 or 4, maybe 4. I'll see. And yeah, this is where I'm talking about, like, well, this is why it sucks, because all these motion vectors are going to be stretched out linearly, and in the end you get this, right? It looks awful. You have these like linear smudges which look terrible in motion. It doesn't look that bad here, but, and yeah, then you have these wheels, and you can see how it stretches. And most of the game developers, they don't care about this. They just slap on the motion blur and they're like, well, this is how it should work. But look, this is not how motion blur works in real life. It's terrible. So yeah, I'm talking about it should be actually a curve, blah, blah, blah. And then finally, I present a solution which does a correct motion blur. But this is using, this is not a texture. This is actually object copies. So this is actually the same object rendered like 30 times or more, maybe even more. You know, I'm thinking about maybe I could do that in Shakedown as well. You know, I could do that perhaps. But yeah, I'm gonna go with texture because this is more classic. My game is, you know, kind of retro classic PS1 style. So I want to keep the classic methods. But basically what I'm doing here is this is of course a person upside down, and I'm just spinning it. But these are all object copies. And these are like transparent objects basically drawn multiple times. And yeah, you can see here that these are actually individual objects being drawn, right? If I reduce the number of them drawn, but then if you draw enough of them, then it basically looks like motion blur. And you know, I didn't invent this. This is what some of I remember back in Flight Simulator, the old Flight Simulator X or whatever, some of the mods did that for propellers. Like they would just redraw things multiple times. And here I'm showing it how it works on the wheel. There it is. Oh, I have some comments that I never read. Oh my god, this is spam. Getting enough samples to produce some of the most accurate real-time motion blur I've seen. For particle motion blur, at least. Call of Duty. I didn't know that. What is this? Amazing. I don't even want to. Great. Cool. I like these blogs from Nautica. The information is very helpful. It would be great to see more blogs about things like increasing performance of programming things. Yeah, which I, you know, this was a long time ago, and then you also have spam like this. Anyway, yeah. What was I? Where was I? Yeah. So basically, I want to implement this kind of a motion blur. But here is one. Yeah, I did say that I made new wheels, and I did want to talk a little bit about the physics changes that I'm adding, but they're incomplete. Work in progress physics changes. Yeah, and then on this stream, I'm going to do the motion blur. But first off, I have to actually make because I didn't have multiple wheel models before. I definitely want to add an ability so that you can switch between wheel objects, which wheel you're using, from the ini file, from the config file, so that I don't have to switch, so that I can pack multiple wheels inside a single car and then switch between them. And I don't have that ability yet. So yeah, so Pirxoskis says, I looked into implementing your blog post technique a while ago since my game wheels were not perfectly round, so blurred texture was not the best. But I ended up just using blurred textures and making wheels more rounded. Yeah, increasing poly count is always a good thing. You know where the problem is? So the problem with blurred textures is that when you have a very 3D rim, how do I say this? Okay, so this is okay. Let's go into discussion a bit. What was that one that I found? Wait, where's the tarmac? Something like that. It doesn't need to be this one, but so this is the kind of a wheel that I was trying to recreate for the tarmac. And the problem with this wheel is that it is quite 3D. You know, it has depth. You can see these spokes on the side, right? When you're looking from the side, you can see the spokes. But in my game, okay, let me start. Let me show you in game. If this actually works, I'm not sure. No, this is actually using the I'm using the snow version. Yeah, well, here you go. You can see the snow snow the snow wheel, but it's of course using tarmac physics. But yeah, this wheel is actually fine. It's not that 3D-ish, right? Because it has these small holes. But the problem is that the tarmac wheel has big holes. Okay, I have to actually re-export the object to show you, unfortunately. But I do have to do that. Hello, Farfaday, by the way. So yeah, my thing is that when you have this 3D thing, then having a blurred texture that needs to be like on a plane, right? It becomes more complicated. And another thing is that, okay, what if you want to have something behind? Right, I actually want to have. I'm thinking about having the glowing brakes behind, right, as well. So if you want to have that kind of a thing, you would need to make the wheel, the motion blurred wheel needs to be blended transparency, and that already introduces a lot of problems, right? Because blended transparency needs to sort with other objects, and I need to make sure that those blurred transparent planes are drawn in the back first, before, for example, the particles, because particles would then, because they would draw on top of particles if I don't do it in the correct order and stuff like that. And I already have a problem with the glass, because of course glass and particles don't like mixing each other. Another way to do it was, of course, to maybe use alpha, how to say, the Bayer pattern transparency, sort of, with the cutout. But I haven't tried it yet, so I have to see. Yeah, and you can see here. Yeah, by the way, you can see here that they have the blurred wheel, and I have this is the snow wheel, and these are actually basically the ones that I use, that I used in my screenshots. The ice, snow, the gravel, and the tarmac wheel. And as you can see here, this tarmac wheel, that is basically similar to this one, right? When you look from the front, it looks fine, right? It's a wheel, but then when you look from the side, then you have the depth, which is missing, right? This thing is missing. This the spokes that you see from the side view, from the side. And yeah, because this is not like a 3D. This is not I would need to have something like an extrusion, but then it becomes weird. Yeah, now you can see the side. It's cool. But then first it introduces more polygons, right? Unfortunately. But secondly, when you blur this plane out, then what do you do with it, right? So it is kind of a some games. I remember from back in the rFactor days, how they did it is they had like a super precise 3D object, right, with these extrusions and everything, and you could see the 3D mesh and everything, right? You could turn around and zoom in. But then when it's actually rolling, they would add a plane on top. So, and then they would switch out the 3D objects. So basically the 3D objects kind of disappear and are just replaced with this plane that is motion blurred. So like, oh well, you're going so fast that you're not gonna notice. And then they had the brakes and everything in behind and stuff. Okay, so anyway, let's proceed with texture switching. So as I was saying, that I do have a problem right now that I always have to replace. So basically, how I test the car now. The way I test the car now is I have to basically re-export, right? This is the old one, right? I don't need that one. Okay, and then this is the new one. And I also don't need the junk. Yeah, this is part of the junk actually. This is the old wheel, by the way. This is the old wheel, and this one actually had the transparency. So it was actually these black spots were whole in the cutout mesh. But yeah, it was made in Substance Painter, as I said, so the UV is not great. It's just been automatically UV'd, as you can see. It's very weird. But now I just have basically two islands, right? There's this one. Oh, actually, this one is all together, and then I have the thread, and then on the back side I just have, well, this is also the same one. I don't know why I have these seams there. There shouldn't be any seams, and these seams also shouldn't exist. Okay, yeah, so basically there's just 3 islands and that's it. And this one was way more complicated. This one had like this was one island, then you had this island, right, with because it was all automatically. I just didn't care, you know. And then the thread was like, well, this is one island, this is one island. Back when I was making this, I really didn't care about this. I was just like, oh wait, this is a separate island. Oh no, this is part of this one. Okay. Yeah, I didn't care about it because I was just using Substance, and I was, you know, I just automatic unwrap everything and just painted it. So yeah. But anyway, yeah, let me remove this and let's just dedicate to this one. Also, I don't need any of the helpers. So these are the 3 wheels that I have in the game. But right now, the way to load them is through, I just, you know, they're all called wheel, but some of them are copies because depending on which one I want, I just rename that to wheel. So basically, if I want the tarmac one, I just take this one and I say wheel, and then I have to do it again because in Blender you have to be like, no, I definitely want to make this the wheel. Oh, I made the wrong one. I turned the wrong one. Did I? No. Yeah, I think I did. Anyway, and then what I would do is I would go here, export everything, and then just put this. And now it should work. Right? I export, and now if I go to, I have to run this one. And when it loads, there it is. And yeah, you can see the wheel. And you can see that there's a little bit of 3D-ness missing there, unfortunately. Okay, anyway, yeah, I think that the holes are actually too dark. And maybe I'm gonna change that. Because, yeah, they're too black, maybe. I have to light them up. Because it's not really completely dark behind the wheel, right? It's there are breaks and there are things behind it. They're not painted pitch black. Anyway, but yeah, there you go. So yeah, the way that you switch between wheels now is through this. And you may have noticed that I also have this. I have another car, which is called Car Gravel. Right? Where is this? Spec 17 Gravel. And I thought that, well, here is my solution to this wheel changing, right? I'm just going to make a copy of a wheel gravel, and I'm just going to add the gravel here. So when it loads the gravel, and here if I go to Finland, it will, boom, crash. And I was wondering, wait a minute, why did it crash? And then I went into the log and I realized that error. Audio clip called nothing. Okay, that's another error, maybe. But yeah, this causes the crash. Object by the name of SunCube. Oh, wait, no, not this one. Wait a minute. Is this the correct? No, it's not this one. Sorry. It's not this one. It's release. Yeah, it's this one. This is the right log. Error. Asset manager material called Spec 17 Gravel body doesn't exist. So the thing is that it's actually you looking for objects called Spec 17 Gravel, and then I realized, fuck, I completely forgot about that. I completely forgot that I'm actually using a stem it needs to have the object name, and I'm not just looking for the ending. I'm looking for the whole word. And yeah. Anyway. Hello. Hello, Timon Paika. Just had to come by and mention that superb work with the wheels logo is Chef's Kiss. You mean Michelle, right? Michelle logo, right? Wait, I need to find this. Because I was laughing at this. Oh yes, Michelle. Where is it? I think I had it somewhere in. Damn it. Okay, I have to find this guy. B Marcy. So, what is this? B Mercy 7. Yeah, so this guy. Okay, let me show you. Yeah, this guy is making a super cool Formula One game, kind of inspired, and he made his fake commercials, and I just love this. Marlon Bro, relax. It's perfect. I don't know. Did he even change the logo? This is a different logo, right? Guitars. This is amazing. I just love guitars. And then there's Michelle. So yeah, this is actually Michelle. You see, it reads Michelle, right? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we can share the universe, of sponsors. I have to ask him. But yeah, his project is super cool. I have to give a shout out. So yeah, he's making an indie game in his own engine, right? It's like a simulator. I mean, look at this. It fucking looks amazing. It's crazy. It really reminds me of like some of the R Factor, old, really cool mods from back in the day, and the graphics and everything reminds me of that. But the physics looks even better to me than R Factor. This is like, yeah, this is great. Anyway, he also has blurred wheels, I'm pretty sure. Can I spot them? Oh, he doesn't have blurred wheels. Oh, wait. Yeah, it doesn't seem like he has blurred wheels. This is, what does it say? Like, pepperoni? Pepperoni or something. Yeah, cool. And it's called 1, right? It's not called, it's not 0, it's 1. Cool. Anyway. But yeah, pretty cool project. Check him out. And I don't know if it even has a name. I don't think it even has a name. This game. So, but yeah, check him out. Pretty cool stuff. And he even has, yeah, he's working also on like the helmets and everything. And the menu is, I love this. It's so vintage, so clicky. Beautiful. Anton Sierra, of course, the famous Formula driver. Yeah. Anyway. Is it like a Formula Prime or something? Anyway, I don't know. So let's go back to our wheels. Pepperoni tires, yes. Dropping him a follow. Yeah, please go there. Wait, let me find the. I'll share a link in the chat. Just give me a second. Where did I put this? Where were we discussing? Shakedown, right? Shakedown. Yeah, there it is. Is this it? Ah, the Twitch app is kind of weird. Wait. Yeah, there it is. That should be it. You can now go and follow him. Okay, anyway, yeah, let's go back to the tires. So first off, I definitely want to implement switching the tires. So what I want to do basically is like I want to be able to go into here, right? To go into the cars and define in the damn wait, I need to turn off the sounds. Okay, yeah. So in the car ini, basically where I have this, I define a model, right? Which is the model file. But I definitely want to do I want to define a wheel object as well. So wheel object is going to be named what? It's going to be named, maybe I can do, I don't know if I should look for, yeah, let's just say wheel gravel, something like that. And what I want to do here is I want to simply, yeah, I have to add that into my configuration config. Okay, where is my car config? Okay, there I have a model. And wait, what am I doing here? If not defined, shakedown demo. Yes, this should not be part of the shakedown. Okay, I'm going to register a wheel object. Okay, and that's gonna point into a car model name. I'm just gonna have a std string wheel object name. And I'm gonna, by default, it's going to be wheel. Yeah, by default, it's just gonna be wheel because I'm gonna look for the wheel object. Okay, and now that I have this, I can go here and I can say point into game wheel object name. There we go. We have registered that, and that should also fire a warning if it doesn't exist. So by default, the most important thing is that it's wheel. And now what I want to do is that when I am I actually, yeah, I'm always compiling to release. So when I actually go and load my objects, okay, do I have objects? No, I don't. Okay, let's find where the car is. Car debug, car GUI. Okay, nope. Okay, I have to find where I'm loading the objects. I didn't add any. Okay, this is the track loading. Splats, and then car should be, there it is, car model. Okay, I should add hashtag so I can search for it. Okay, so yes, when you car model path, I have a path, and basically this is, yeah, if it's a demo. So if it's, wait, am I building a demo? I'm not building a demo. So why is this? Oh, because it's not, if not defined. This gets me always confused. If and def is terrible. Yeah, because it's like sometimes I don't see the n, and I'm like, okay, well, if, but no, it's actually the opposite. Yeah, so basically here I have the path. Oh yeah, this is just loading. This is just loading of the CFG. But no, I don't want to do that. I do want to, after I load into the scene, validating. Oh, this is where I'm doing. This is where I'm doing all the finding of the objects. There it is. So these are all the hard-coded names for the demo. And I definitely need to have a yeah, how, oh yeah, there it is, wheel. Okay, wheel just needs to end with wheel. I completely forgot about this. Okay, if I didn't find the wheel, car model pointers, I have completely forgotten about this, how I implemented this. But yeah, it does make sense. I am getting pointers to everything. Yeah, and the thing is that I am warning if for useless objects, but I shouldn't really I shouldn't warn for useless objects. But anyway, yeah, so instead of having this name ends with, I'm just going to go with ends with, and then I'm gonna say game dot wheel object name. So yeah, that is how that should be it, hopefully. Ends with hull. Okay, this is the convex hull for collisions. Windows, headlights, brake glass, reverse lights. Yeah. Okay. So let's see if this actually works. Right? And I'm gonna load. By default, I think it should load the spec 17. Did I even submit this to fork? I don't know. I have to check. Anyway. Yeah, so now that I have these wheels, I can actually name them correctly. Okay, there it is. Something happened. Unable to start program. Interesting. What happened there? Why can't it start the program? Okay, there it is. Ah, there we go. There's something. Interesting. Material was null pointer. Particle shader. Okay, this is not what I was expecting. Let's see what's going on here. I'm gonna go to switch to debug. I might need to rebuild. We'll see. Object by the name of asset audio clip not found. I did have these errors before and it worked fine. Program error. Get material. Okay. So I was trying to get a material of something. Did I... maybe there is a object without a material here. No, they all have materials. Do they all have textures? What am I even trying to load? That's the question. Okay. So, config entry for engine idle clip not found. Start with headlights on, camera position, camera for. Okay, let me actually try to start without this wheel object. And let's see what happens now. Okay, so it works. So there must be some kind of a problem here. See you soon. Object complete. Did I maybe... Is there maybe space missing or something? But it should say that there is some kind of a... it should actually say that there is a problem, no? I think so. Let's rerun. So yeah, this wheel gravel doesn't exist. That's the thing. Maybe I actually need to check if wheels. Ah, okay. I see what is happening. Yeah, of course, the material doesn't exist, and I'm trying to point into it. I'm not checking if the wheel is null. Yeah. So let's. Did I save it? I did not save it. Okay. Oh, I didn't even see these. From Narvel, P null might be more on point. P nothing. The Michelle P nothing. Yeah, okay. So yeah, there was a bug, but let's see. Useless object, no checkpoints. Found 6 materials. Oh yeah. So basically, I'm not warning anywhere that I didn't load a wheel, right? I need to find. So I think that I actually need to add a check for all of this. So let's go for the car model. There it is. So yeah, when I'm loading, I'm finding the objects, and I definitely at the end. Here's the thing. I need to make sure collider not found, collider must exist. Yeah, I need to check if any of these exist. So yeah, let's go with if car model pointers. Yeah, let's just add a little validation layer here. Car model pointers is null pointer. Oh, of course, this needs to be a body. Okay. And if it is, then I'm going to say error. Let's just do it like this. Error. Body not found. It must exist. I guess, right? I don't know what would happen if it's okay. Body object not found. It must exist. And yeah, there's nothing else to err. And why was it saying okay, no, that's it. Okay. And I'm gonna say else if, well, no, else if, but if, another if, and this is gonna be if wheel is null pointer, wheel object not found, it must exist. But maybe I can also add an assert, you know, I can just say car model pointers so that I can I suck at writing. Okay, so the reason why I have these separate is for the debug. So this is only going to compile and debug, and this is just going to break immediately so that I know what the problem is. Yeah, and I don't know if all the other, yeah, I need to check. Okay, I need to do to make sure that all the others, definitely headlights, brake lights, reverse, these are not required, but hull and body and wheel should be required. Okay, so yeah, let me, what did I do? Did I do something? Did I add some kind of a, no, that's it. Yeah, let's try to build. And let's see if it breaks. Interesting, it didn't break. How is that? So it did actually find. Oh, there it is. Okay, so it happens after everything. Interesting. Yeah, there it is. So it did fail. It did say, oh, well, wheel is a... Oh, no, it was body maybe. Why doesn't it open up the... What is it? Okay, it does... Oh, it's because it can't load memory. Is it? Am I building... This should be debug. Why is the memory not readable then? That's strange. It should be readable. But anyway. Oh, yeah, because it was actually showing what it points to. And that was null, I guess. Okay, anyway. Yeah, so let's do a proper wheel gravel, right? Let's do... Yeah, let me re-export with all the correct names. That is the problem I have now. So, yeah, by the way, let's just do wheel. And let's see if that's gonna work. Yeah, of course, it does work because because wheel does exist. Okay, there it is. So now I just have to do all the correct naming. Okay, let's do the tarmac, and I'm gonna call this one gravel, and I'm gonna call this snow, I guess. Tarmac, gravel, snow, or studs. I don't know. Yeah, let's do just like snow. Okay, so now when I take this all, I'm gonna select, export, and you know, another thing that I can do is I can also delete this one because I don't need the other one, the gravel. Okay, so now when I try to rename this wheel gravel, it should load the gravel. Let's see, let's rerun it. And there we go. We have the gravel tires. Nice. Okay, cool. Look at those. Look at those gravel tires in action. Of course, the actual wheel properties did not change. It's just the graphics. This is still a gravel tire. This is still a tarmac tire, basically. I think so. I think at least. I think it is a tarmac tire. Anyway, so when you change this, yeah, basically I can now switch to a different one. I can say wheel snow, and it should give me the snow wheel. I don't know if I should do the same thing with the body or something. Is it the studs? Yeah, it is. These are the studs. Nice. Cool. So now I can change the wheel models as I wish, which is pretty cool. Oh, and here is some snow. But is it actually snow? I don't think it is. It is actually snow. I think it still behaves like gravel. Yeah, one thing that I don't have now is I don't actually have particle colors, so surfaces don't influence particle colors. So it's just like emitting brown, like it is gravel, but it should be white. So I don't have per surface, per surface colors, particle colors. I have per map or stage, however you want to call it, particle colors. So I define white in Sweden and brown in Finland, for example. But I should definitely do per surface because you can have mixed surfaces in each of the stages. Anyway, so yeah, there we go. I've done this. Let me quickly fork this. I mean commit. So yeah, wheel switching from car init. There we go. Okay, so the next thing, finally, let's do wheel motion blur. But before that, I want to mention one thing I forgot to mention before. And that is, And that is, give me just a moment to submit this. Oh, I do have, what did I do here? Oh, I was doing something. I was doing something with inputs. Yeah, I was actually trying out to kill the car. Okay, smooth value. Yeah, I was actually changing the amount of steering input weights, sort of. So let me just submit that as a separate thing. Car debug. This was also in that one. Smooth value access. Yeah. Car debug draw. Okay. Yeah. So I want to actually just say input smoothing. Oh wait, compression force. That was not part of it. Yeah, this sucks because I didn't stage it in time. I'm not gonna do the input smoothing. Well, increase. How do we say? Chopped. I know what it means. Okay, and then I have the physics, which I was trying to do. Okay, let me just submit this as physics changes, which I want to talk about right now. So yeah, I did a few physics changes, just testing out some things. Yeah, and then I'm just gonna submit the spec 17. And yeah, this should, wait, spec 17. This one should not oh yeah, it should exist, but this should be now. Oh yeah, by the way, yeah, this is the old object. I'm going to not submit that. And then I have the Monty map. Why did everything change? Interesting. Oh, because I was actually messing around with surfaces. Yeah, that is something still that is work in progress. Yeah, I'm not gonna touch that for now. Okay, and I'm just gonna say new wheels, new wheel types, and wheel switching. So there we go. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna submit. Oh, not this one, but I'm gonna submit this one and all the to-dos, and that I've fixed this one. And for the gravel, yeah, and wheel switching, but I do want to add for my gravel, I'm going to add the snow. Oh yeah, by the way, let's go with wheel tarmac, and this thing is gonna be model is wheel gravel. Oh, this should be wheel object, right? Not model. And finally, we have snow. And a snow car should, of course, use the snow tire. Okay, so now when I launch Shakedown, it should use... Oh, yeah, right. I didn't build... Wait. I didn't build a release version. So let's do that. Let's build the release and then test if it works. Yeah, but I was saying that I was actually working on a change to the handling physics, and I do want to revamp how it works, because you know this annoying message that says you can't use the handbrake, it's broken. Well, I definitely want to implement handbrake, but to be able to implement the handbrake, I have to change the physics completely. And so I was trying out some things, and I realized I have some problems currently in the physics engine, in my handling physics. Well, okay, so we have the tarmac, looks good. Let's go to Monty. Monty says it's not tarmac. What? Why is it not tarmac? Why is it gravel? Okay, wait, did I do something wrong? Gravel. Oh, I didn't save this. Okay, there it is. Okay, there it is. Yeah, I have the tarmac now. Cool. Works nice. And now if I go to Finland. Oh, it crashes. Great. And why it crashes? Because the Finland is using the other car, which doesn't exist. I completely forgot that. Where is my Finland config? Bin release Finland. There it is. I need to change it to. Wait a minute. It is using the correct one. Oh, it is the car. The car is actually the problem. The gravel car is using this gravel that doesn't exist. No, it's everything is using the same file now. Everything is using the same file. Okay, there it is. And now it should be working. Please don't. Yeah, there it is. Cool. And there are the gravel wheels. Nice. Looks nice. Very smooth. Okay, cool. So there you go. You can have multiple wheel models per car, and they will switch. And of course, I mean, you can define your own physics as well. But yeah, I am also working on the new surface system, so that you have these like tire compatibilities. You can run gravel tires on tarmac and tarmac tires on gravel, and they should behave correctly. You know, tarmac should be best on tarmac and gravel should be best on gravel. And yeah, I'm still thinking about how to exactly implement it, but I have a sort of an idea how to do it. I have sort of written down a certain architecture for it. Okay, anyway. So now that we have, I'm just driving now because it's cool. I don't know if you can actually hear the game. I almost don't hear anything. I don't actually hear anything. Probably because I restarted my computer and you know, it's completely broken. Oh no. Okay, good. Yeah, but cool. And the coolest thing about this is now I can just go into the replay, you know, and I can stand somewhere. I can stand in a little corner somewhere, fly here, for example, and just watch the car run past. Where is it? There it is. It's coming. Whoa, nice. Okay. Well, I did recreate the sound. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, and you know, I can also look into the slow motion and see the wheels up close. Very smooth, very nice. All right, so that is object switching. Yeah, what I was saying is that I have a little bit of a problem. I can hear the game. Yeah, good. I feel like the world is conspiring to keep me from watching various motorsports. Is it? Yeah, so here's the thing I'm trying to say. So I realized that I made a major mistake when I was making my handling model. And that problem was that my suspension is not just pushing the car away from the tarmac, from the surface, right? As you should, but it's also attracting it. So one huge problem that I had is that, you know, don't stick. There it is. Okay, if I look for don't stick. Okay, look at that. So this is what I was doing, right? Suspension impulse that they applied to the wheel is spring and damping, right? But what I didn't do is I didn't clamp it to 0, right? I was like, it was both pushing and attracting to the surface. But in real life, the springs are only pushing. They're not attracting. So I made this big mistake in the beginning, and now the game works like this. And And you can actually notice this in game because the car is attached to the ground much more than it should be in real life. But here's the thing. Here is the problem. If I actually if I actually turn off that, if I actually clamp the force as it should work in real life, it completely now changes the handling. That's the problem. Well, first, this Hello Narwhal channel. Well, first, WRC ruins its point system and now has ditched Steiner. Oh, they did? I didn't know that. That's the first time I hear this news. I didn't know that. Well, that's cool. Oh, actually, let me show you what I mean by sticking, okay? That's sad that Steiner is not... the news broke 5 minutes after you went live. Oh! Okay, yeah, well, that's why I didn't see anything. That sucks. And I don't know about... yeah, the WRC points, I don't know. There's less risk now, that's for sure. That's the thing. I don't think they ruined it, but... yeah. Anyway, let's go back to the game. So yeah, this is the old way of doing things, right? With my problem. And here you can actually notice this. If I go over this hump, the wheels get attached, even though realistically the car should jump off, right? But it gets stuck to the ground, and that is because there is this force pushing the wheel towards the ground, and you can actually see it kind of here. I have the force acting on the ground, on the suspension force, as these circles that... wait, can I actually show you these circles that show here? So when I jump, you can see how there's compression. And if I go over, it goes negative, so it will flip around and it will stick to the ground. And I don't know how I didn't figure this out when I was working on this game in the beginning, right? I don't know how I missed it, right? How I managed to make this stick to the ground, right? It only takes a lot of force. So yeah, one thing is, like, for example, you can see that it gets detached, right? And the car does get detached, like, you know, as finally it jumps off. But if I increase the damping, if I go where is I think it's the damping that should be increased. If I increase the damping to something a lot, you will see that now it will almost like never detach. Like, okay, no, wait, it's not the damping. I think the spring also needs to go up. Oops, not the acceleration. The spring needs to go up as well. So the harder the spring and more damping there is, the more it will stick to the ground, right? And yeah, and that is completely incorrect. Oh well, now it's now it refuses to happen. Now it refuses to stick. Great. Okay, let's try like, yeah, maybe if I reduce damping, I don't know. Yeah, now it's all jumpy. Now it wants to jump. But there you can see. Oh yeah, now it is attached. And plus it has this weird wobble. But yeah, that's just because there's no damping. Yeah, and you can see that it almost, yeah, it never detaches. It just sticks to the ground. Yeah. And then I realized, when I realized this mistake, yeah, it was actually a long time ago that I realized, but I just went with it because you know, sometimes you have to go with it and focus on other things in the game, because there's plenty of other things to implement. The car is reverse Teflon. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the thing is that now that when I actually clamp this, the game behaves completely differently. Okay, now this thing is flat, right? But yeah, there it is. You see how easy it is for it to flip? Like, because the car doesn't stick anymore to the ground. It is actually flipping very easily, and it can roll, right? By flipping, I mean rolling, right? There you go, right? And now I have to increase the springs, so it doesn't completely collapse, you know. That's first. Then I have to increase the anti-roll. And now when you increase everything, you have completely ruined the handling, you know. It completely changes now, right? But yeah, if I try to jump now, if I try to jump off, you can see that it will not stick anymore. It will actually fly. It will actually fly away, which is the intended behavior, you know. It doesn't stick. Well, now I'm going on the grass and it's really slow. But yeah, there we go. Even with small speed, it just. But yeah, once you start driving this, right? Once I go to Finland, it completely feels wrong. Right? First, it leans too much. It rolls a lot. And another thing is that the wheels will easily get out of contact with the ground. Right now that it jumps a lot, right? It will get a lot less contact, and that means that the steering also changes, because steering depends on how many wheels is in contact with the ground, right? And if you detach from the ground, right, even a bit, you can't steer anymore. And there is our first roll, and we're just in water, you know. This is the Jesus car anyway, so we are just driving on water. Yeah, so it completely now changes the handling. Well, okay, Finland is less of a problem. A much bigger problem is Monty, because Monty has a lot of bumps. Okay, Monty has a lot of bumps, and it makes the car jump a lot. As you can see, it instantly is like rolling. It's instantly on two wheels, and yeah, great. So now, to be able to have a correct, you know, better physics, I have to change it. And man, I actually really loved how Monty feels. Look at that. Now it's like unplayable. And yeah, too bad that I will have to change everything. But yeah, here's the thing. It's not gonna happen in the next build. I have to change a lot of things, and I think I'm just going to change basically the whole handling in one build, and I'm just gonna say, hey, now it doesn't feel like the old thing. But then I have to change a lot of things. So one of those is I actually want to try to implement four-wheel physics. So instead of just faking steering like I do right now and just torquing the entire car, I do actually want to try to implement actual four-wheel physics, and that will allow me to also have handbrakes and other stuff. And most importantly, not just handbrakes, but also for front and rear wheel drives, because right now it doesn't support them. Now you can only drive four wheels at the same time. Yeah, and as you can see, it's now it's now very unplayable. But here's the thing. In reality, I should actually here's the thing. The raycast, as you can see, is very big. Wait, I can actually put it in like this. Yeah, as you can see, the resting wheel position is way too low, right? And that is because in the old in the old days, in the old handling, this is how I sort of made the handling work to be attached to the surface, by just extending it and making sure that it never gets detached. But yeah, actually I should raycast distance. This is the one. So this one limits how much of the raycast you have, how distant it is. So now when you actually turn it, oh, it has fallen down. Okay, now it actually makes more sense. It will not try to roll more, right? But now it jumps a lot. It detaches from the ground too much, right? That's one thing. And if it detaches from the ground too much, that's usually the sign that you're over damping. You're over damping on you're under springing, right? So now I have to change the spring. Now if I change the, if I increase the spring, and I maybe you should actually increase the damping. Yeah, now it feels better, slightly better. But now, because it's very bumpy, the road is very bumpy, it will still fly away. At least it doesn't like completely change the yeah. So, but here's the thing. This can work. This is now more realistic. The problem is that it completely changes the handling now, right? So now I have to, it doesn't feel like the old game anymore. This feels more realistic. And I did actually like how the old game felt. So, yeah, I have to do a lot of tweaks, and I have to do a lot of tests. And yeah, I was thinking of maybe making Monty a little less bumpy, because the bumps are really deadly now. They when you bump off one of the bumps, when your wheel is in the air, you lose traction, you lose steering, you can't turn. So yeah, this is now super annoying, and steering feels very inconsistent right now when it doesn't, because at some point you're like, okay, I can steer well, but then you bump off and suddenly you lose steering completely. And yeah, it is very annoying. So I have to think about this handling problem and everything. And yeah, one more thing that I had a problem with as well was that the final force that I add to the car, right, which moves the car, is actually applied to one point. And it's actually this point, this blue point in the middle, right? And this blue point actually doesn't depend on anything. It doesn't depend on which wheels are in contact. The point is always in the middle of the car, okay? It doesn't depend on if only this wheel is in contact. And this is why there are some weirdnesses with the car, right? But the good thing about this is that it allows you to have very predictable braking, for example, because it's always in the middle, it's not offset. If you have braking and it's offset, it can feel very unpredictable, which is why, for example, when you play simulators on the keyboard or gamepad, it's very hard to get it. It's really hard to drive, because everything depends a lot on the wheels, like where are the wheels. If one wheel is on the grass, for example, you're gonna brake in a completely different way. Well, I don't do this because that's why I apply only a central force, right? But yeah, so then I was experimenting. Okay, so maybe I'm gonna improve handling by actually moving this point, right, to where the contacts are actually, and it does improve. Tire contacts or tire force. This is what I call it. But now the problem is that it also changes handling again, right? So it's making the physics more and more realistic. And the question is, you might think it's good. That's good. That's a good thing, right? But do I really want that? Do I really want realistic physics? I want fun physics, but I want something that does feel realistic. you know, but not entirely realistic. I just want something that you can just start on the keyboard and just play it around, right? And yeah, and it does. So if I go to F2, you can see now that the contact point moves. You know, you can see the blue one. Now it depends on which wheels are in contact, and that actually prevents some things with rolling, some problems, not all of them. Well, there's still rolling problems because of the, but yeah, at least it's a little bit more realistic, right? But anyway, I still have to work on that, and I just made a digression from wheel blur to talk about this, to talk about these you know, handling changes that I'm working on. Yeah, how heavy is the car object? Surely you should need some funny physics hacks to keep it grounded. Yeah. So, oh yeah, one more thing that I completely don't have in the game is aerodynamics, and this plays a big role in real life, especially with these cars, with WRC cars. So basically you say reverse Teflon, but you know, reverse Teflon is what the cars are. It's just that it's not the wheels, it's not the suspension that is creating the negative force, right? The grounding force. It's the aerodynamics. So as you can see, this WRC car has, you know, a gigantic diffuser as well. Where's my mouse? Oh, there it is. It has a gigantic diffuser here, which also puts it down, and it has a gigantic wing, you know, and it has all these like little elements. And these are all things that are like putting the car down on the ground. But the thing is that aerodynamics only works at high speed, right? They don't work at low speed. So yeah, it will help me ground the car at high speed, but not so much on the low speed. Anyway, yeah, that's something that, this is why I say I want to release the handling as like a completely separate thing that I'm gonna work on for some time, because yeah, this is because I also need to add aerodynamics and stuff like that. Anyway, let's go back. No downforce, it all makes sense. Yeah. No downforce. Yeah, exactly. I should have called it downforce from the beginning. Upforce, and the suspension is the upforce then, right? If you have the downforce, it must be the upforce. Yeah, so now that there's no downforce, yeah, I need to stick it somehow to the ground. But yeah, as you say, hacky, it could be hacky as well. I mean, you know, as long as it feels good, it's gonna be good. Okay, anyway, let's get back to the olden days of sticking to the ground with the tires. And yeah, let's implement. What was I about to implement? Oh yeah, wheel motion blur. Okay, let's go back to debug, because I definitely want to turn on debug mode so that I can see it. So how am I going to implement that, right? Well, here is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of making textures that are through like 1x4, and then simply offsetting the UVs in the shader by a certain speed, right? So what I want to do is, like, when you're static, the texture should be this one. When you speed up, it should change to the blurred one, right? This is what I'm trying to do, in case you didn't understand. And there could be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 steps, whatever, right? This is something that you should be able to adjust yourself. Did I? Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, let me just submit this and say, okay, Monty Map, this is not it. Okay, spec 17.0 uses all the wheels correctly. All variants of spec 17.0 use correct wheels. There we go. That's one thing done. Okay, and the wheel motion blur, yeah, as I said. Okay, so now I have to open, unfortunately, Okay, let me actually. Where was my motion blur? Yeah, there it is. This is so basically what I want to make is a texture that looks like this, right? It will have multiple steps, and I am going to open Photoshop, and that's going to be part of. Yeah, I'm going to show you my textures that I was working on. So yeah, if I go into here, you can see how they look like. It's 128 by 128 texture. Okay, let me wait. Here it is. It's a 128 by 128, and what it has is the contact patch, the treads, the side of the wheel, and then there's also the back of the wheel. And since I don't need too much resolution for that, nobody's gonna notice it. I just put it here, and it's actually using a copy of this texture, and then I just darkened it, without the logos and stuff, Michelle logos. Yeah. So what I want to do now is I want to repeat this texture. Let's go for 2 times for the start, huh? Or maybe should I do 4 times immediately? Yeah, let's go for 4 times. Okay, so here's my construction. Here is where I was actually working on the tires. This is where I was pixel drawing everything. So yeah, this was all these treads are pixel drawn, and it was like a long time that I didn't draw something with pixels individually, and yeah, I was looking at these pixels for a long time. Anyway, and I do have some examples, of course, some references here. But yeah, here are my final textures. So as you can see, here's the gravel, here's the tarmac, and here's the studded snow tire. Have you considered storing the texture with polar UVs and using anisotropic maps for blurs? Probably not the most practical, but fun to think about. I did think about it, but anisotropic. Yeah. Here's the thing. Then everything would need to be. Everything would need to be. Everything would need to be UV'd to be like along the axis, right, instead of turning. I mean, it's a fun thing. I think it's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it would look too good, but yeah. There's also there also could be a way to do like blurring in the shader, which is something that I was also thinking about. Like I could sample multiple times the textures and just accumulate them on the side, and you could even do that with rotating. Maybe that is anisotropic because you want to only blur along the single axis. Yeah, I understood that, not along the radial axis. Yeah. I know. That's why I say it would be difficult to do this thing, because you would need to unwrap it in a linear fashion, right? You would need to have. I don't know. I could try some other time, but yeah, right now I think this could just be the. It could be just a test, Yeah, I don't know. I'll think about it, but. I think that if this one works, then it's going to be. About UVing. Yeah, well, first off, there's going to be. The problem is that there's going to be a lot of UV deformations. That's one thing, because I know how it looks like when you. When you unwrap a, when you have a rotating object. That's one thing. I mean, I can just show you. If I do this, I can actually remove this one. Let's do something like that, and then I'm gonna do this seam, and I'm gonna do this seam. Okay, let's map this. I'm gonna actually do this seam. Oh, there's 2 of them now. No, I only want this one. Okay, if I take this one, if I unwrap it, wait, what did happen? What happened? I was not using, wait a minute. Oh yeah, it should be seams. Okay, so if I unwrap this, and I'm gonna rectify this, there we go. And yeah, there it is. You have linearized. And now if you put a linear texture on it, as you can see, there's plenty of deformations. And to prevent these deformations, I would need to have more complex, more dense UV and stuff. And yeah, as you can see, this looks a lot more stretchier. And then I would need to, like, basically, if it goes out, I would need to stretch this or something to make it. Well, I would need to compress this to make it more like, yeah, something like that. I don't know. To make it, how to say, more balanced, more flat, less deformed. But yeah, it is a challenge. It is a challenge because, yeah, it looks terrible. The question is anybody gonna notice, right? I don't know. But yeah, I'm gonna go with just blurring the wheel the classic way. You can easily pick ordinary MIP levels in the shader. Yeah. I also never used anisotropic MIP maps. So I don't know. I don't know how that would work. But I guess that's something that you can tell OpenGL to create, I hope. Because anisotropic MIP maps must be used for, like, anisotropic specular, not specular, but the reflections and stuff. So there must be a way how to do it somehow. Okay, anyway. Let's do this the classic way, right? Basically this whole thing is inside a single group. Oh, I have some extensions here. But I'm actually gonna put it on the end. So this is gonna be one. Let's see. Let me actually put some guides here. Okay, this is gonna be 768, I think so. And then this one. I think this one is okay. Let's attach it over there. And that should be it, right? This is the fourth. So yeah, I'm basically planning to make a texture that is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's try this. So I'm just gonna make copies. Yeah, let's actually do a one group over this. So I can be like, okay, this is the final snow, but this is, I'm just gonna call it snow. Maybe like this. Okay, now I'm gonna put that in a group. Okay, let's actually save that. So when I make a copy of this, right? And I'm gonna do multiple copies, 4 copies. And basically we have 4 speeds, right? Let's just make sure that I put it in the correct position. There we go. Okay, so now for these, I want to do a basically for the tread. For the tread, I need to blur it vertically, and I already have. So this, I have this layer mask, right? If I disable it, you can see that there's more on the top and the bottom. Oh, it's actually slightly incorrect, but it doesn't matter. Okay, let's just do this for trying. Okay, I'm just gonna do a motion blur, and let's see. So how much should I blur? 3 pixels more. I don't know, the first step. What about 2 pixels? Well, it already disappears. The studs already disappear in the third one. Maybe I can do like 4 pixels. Let's see how that looks like. Well, for the studs, that looks okay. I think it might be too much, perhaps. Okay, when it comes to this one, the problem is that this is all one thing, so I'm gonna have to merge. Oh, by the way, I shouldn't have put this one here. Okay, I'm gonna merge the whole thing, and I'm gonna go into the blur. What is the name of it? The name of it is not the radial blur. Actually, the radial blur sucks. Instead of, this is spin blur. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, basically you have this point. Okay, what is going on? It's super slow. Hello. Hello, hello Photoshop. Come back. Okay, there it is. It does work, but it needs to be... What is... Okay, I'm gonna add... Is there like a list of points? Where are the points? Okay, there they are. But... Okay, here we go. Can I have a list of all of them? Can I select them with Control A? Because there's one here. Okay, let's disable this one. Okay, I'm just gonna move. No, I don't want to create a new one. Okay, this is awful. This is so slow. Maybe I should have done this outside of the stream. You know what? I'm just gonna do one tire, right? I'm just gonna do one wheel. Let's do the studs, and then I don't know what is going on now. Okay, I'm just gonna move this one over here. But yeah, because Photoshop is really slow when streaming. It's not, you know what makes Photoshop faster, by the way? Removing rulers. This is a trick I learned a long time ago. And it still is true. And now I have to wait for just Photoshop to stop moving. My God. Come on. Come on, Photoshop. Can I just... Hello? Hello? Can I gain the... There it is. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna disable rules. And, well, it is slightly faster. Not too faster, but at least it's workable now. Okay, so basically, I'm gonna position this in the middle. Well, it's hard to see the middle. Actually, I'm gonna remove the preview. Yeah, there it is. Okay, maybe I should have removed the preview in the beginning. I'm gonna put it in the exact middle. And now we can see the basic one, and now we have the blurred. So by how much should I blur for the first time? 10? No, this is too much. 10. How much is this? 5. 5% is nothing. Oh, it's these exponential sliders of Photoshop that are really weird. Okay, yeah, maybe something like this. Okay, for the first one, it's what? It's 10. That's the blur angle. Okay, so I'm just gonna say okay. There we go. We have it a little bit blurred. Yeah, so we have the first step. Okay, let's do another one. I'm gonna do a... Okay, now we go for motion blur. Maybe I should have done motion blurs first. Okay, let's go. Should I double it every time? Oh, well, this is completely invisible already. Maybe I need only 2 after all. What was this? 8. 8 makes it completely invisible. Okay, well, let's just go for this for now. Yeah, let me also change this one. Thread snow. And you know what? I'm just going to apply the same one because there's no change anyway. Okay, and then finally, for this thing, I'm going to merge this one. And I'm also going to merge this one. Merge group. Okay. And let's see, blur gallery. Spin blur. Okay, let's see. Why does it always create this default? It is a little bit annoying. Okay, let's return. Preview. Why does it create this one? I wish it didn't. Yeah, what if I delete it? Blur. Why does it create? Okay. There it is. Okay, I did create it. Good. Okay, so we have the center, and so 10 was the first one, right? If I remember correctly. So let's go with 20 for the second one. Oh, that's actually pretty cool. And that looks good. Okay, let's go with 20. And finally, I'm gonna do another blur gallery, but it's just going to apply the same effect. Yes, perfect. That's not perfect. I'm just gonna do a spin blur at, yeah, delete that, put it here. Okay, now I got the hang of it. Okay, and this is gonna be, let's make sure it's in the middle as well. No, I don't want another one. Please delete it. Please. There it is. Just make sure, because there's a tiny change in the axis, makes it completely different. And we went for 20, right? Let's go for 40 then. There it is. Yeah, so we have 10, 20, 40, right? Good. Okay, yeah, there we go. We have the 4. But I do actually want to put this one in front. So, yeah, not this one, but this one. I'm going to push it to the front like this. And then I'm going to move everything back. So, like this. Cool. And that should be it, hopefully. So now what I have to do is I have to, how much is this? 512 by 127. So I 1 pixel less than what it should be. Okay, so what does it say? There it is, 128. Let's make sure that it's on the correct pixel. It is correct pixel here, correct pixel there. Looks good. Okay, there we go. We have our wheel. 512, 128. Cool. Okay, let's save that as vehicles wheel, and that's gonna be a gravel, right? No, that's actually the snow wheel. Here we go. We can save that. And let's actually, now the problem is that when I redo this, whoops, it has fucked up the UVs completely, and that is because I have to remap this. So I take the whole thing, I take all the UVs, right? And I have to compress them by 0.25, right? And another thing is I have to move them by Wait a minute. That's not correct. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Why is it scaled up? That is strange. Oh no, it's not scaled up. It's this thing is just off limits. Okay, yeah, now I see. Okay, so divide by 4. And then just, I need to put it, well, I will have to redo it. I guess I just have to put it over here. Okay, make sure the pixels are lined up. There it is. And what the hell is this? I completely forgot. Let's just put it in, I don't know. Let's just put it in here. Okay. It's gotta be some kind of an internal face. Oh, there it is. That I'm not using anymore. I completely forgot. Oh my god, I had junk faces inside that I didn't even know about. Okay. So yeah, there we go. We have the snow wheel again. And here's what I can do. I can just select the objects. Can export GLB. And it should all work again, except that I don't have. Okay, let's put the snow wheel in here. So when I run Finland, it works fine. It has the same texture. Oh, there's a little bit of a UI fuck up, but I'm gonna fix that later. Okay. And here's the thing. If I go to the scene, if I go to all the assets, if I Google for the assets, texture, and there should be a spec 17 snow. There it is. You can see that it's actually the spinning version. But here's the thing. So this is only using this quarter, right? So I have to move the UV across. And I'm actually going to do that with a shader. So because I have a special car shader that I use in the car. Resources, shaders, car shader. There it is. Okay. So yeah, basically I can move the UVs. There you go. I'm just offsetting the UVs here. Sorry, not offsetting, but outputting the UVs. Sending it to the other thing. vColor gives funky results. Interesting. But anyway. Textual light map. What am I doing? Blobs and stuff. Blob position. Shade. Shadow. Yeah. Anyway. What I can do is I'm going to add a uniform. I'm going to add a uniform here. And, oh, I actually don't have any vertex uniforms. But I can add one in here, I guess, after everything. Or maybe before scene fragment here. I'm not actually sure if it matters. Yeah, so I'm going to have a uniform that's going to be just a float. And that float is going to be I'm just going to call it the UV offset or something like that. Should it be a float? Or should it be a vector too? I don't know. Anyway. Does Photoshop allow you to disable live previews? It should be easy to position the control points without any visual feedback. Yeah, I did that, and it changed it increased the performance a bit, but not by much. If you want hardware accelerated blending between, oh yeah, and before that, RCRNSTN says, The area of influence seems to be way bigger than the wheel. Reducing it would also speed things up. Maybe, yeah, maybe. But yeah, it doesn't matter anymore. If you want hardware accelerated blending between the 4 versions, you can stick them in a 3D texture and use sample points with non-integer z coordinate. Yeah, that's actually an interesting thing. I never actually tried this. I never tried using a 3D texture and then blending between points. That would be interesting. Yeah, I never thought about that. But anyway, I think it might be too much for this game. So yeah, UV offset. And I'm simply going to say UV here plus vec2 0 UV offset. Well, no, wait, it should be an X. So yeah, let's see if this works. If I go to Finland, let's see if the shader is gonna break or not. Oh, it seems to be working. No shader problems. Create a mesh collider which is not unit scaled. Okay, there's some Sweden follow rod unit scaled. Okay, yeah, anyway, that is about it. And then of course I need to push in the value for the wheel, right? And the material, well, what am I going to use? Put that, okay, this is the GUI. Mouse hiding, drawing. Okay, so drawing in blob shader, set matrix, blob shader, car material. We have a car material. And I'm setting the shadow. Okay, so this is where I want to actually set the material. Okay, do I have a wheel material? No, I don't. Okay, let's see. Wheel material. Let's look for the wheel here. Wheel grounded, graphics, dusty wheels. No, when I'm getting the wheel, this is the registry. Somewhere here. Okay, I'm mentioning wheels here. And I'm also checking for wheels. Set wheels to the car. Bind all car meshes to car rigid body. Set wheels to the car. Oh, of course. Yeah, I need to duplicate the wheels. That's the thing. I need to duplicate the wheels and then put them into onto the car. Bind all car meshes to car rigid body except wheels. Okay, yeah. I completely forgot about that as well. Yeah, that's how I position the car model to the rigid body. Yeah, so I don't have the wheel material, so I'm actually gonna get it somewhere here. So this is the physics. Car physics initialization, set wheels to the car, headlights, car texture. Oh, this is where I'm getting all the textures. Headlights. There's no wheels here. I have a feeling like I'm using something. No, this is the setting, and then, yeah. So yeah. I definitely need to grab property of texture. I'm getting a texture here. Car lights material. Create material. Yeah, I'm creating a material here. Okay, I'm definitely gonna get a material, and I'm gonna say wheel mat is wheel. Wait, I do need to grab a wheel somehow. From where? Do I have a wheel go somewhere? Wheel car. Okay, am I using the wheel? Yeah, I am. Car model pointers wheel. Yeah, and I can't do it without the wheel. So car model pointers dot wheel dot get material. Yeah. So this is gonna fail if it doesn't have a material. But yeah, anyway. So I get the wheel material, right? And then I need to set all the properties for the wheel materials. Let's see. Where am I going to do that? Graphics. Somewhere in the graphics. Where did I do that with the... I have some trail effects. Okay, these are particles, physics, camera, sound... position of the, yeah, this is all sound. Debugging the wheel and drawing. Yeah. So after the, let's just do it after the blob. Yeah, here. So I'm just going to say wheel material dot set float, and my float is called UV offset. Okay. And should I capitalize it? Yeah, let's actually capitalize it. I'm gonna do UV so that I differentiate between these in and outs and the uniforms. Okay, set float, and I'm gonna do the UV offset, and I'm gonna set it to, let's do it to 3. I'm just gonna do it static just to see if it works. So there was it. 2 lines changed. Basically, just getting a material. The project is very impressive. Art, 2D, especially the 3D level modeling and programming, physics and graphics. Are you the sole developer? Yes, I am the sole developer. But you know, it's been a long time, a year. And I've been working on the engine since 2020. I didn't intend to make my own engine, of course. Of course, as you do. Okay, so this is the wrong car. I actually, yeah, let's go to Finland. Let's see if... Oh, right, I went with an integer. So an integer does nothing. The integer does nothing. I need to go with like 0, 5. Something like that. But yeah, now it should be depending on the velocity, on the speed. Okay, so does it work? I don't think it does. This is debug, right? So it doesn't work in the... Okay, wheel material. It should exist. Oh, symbol can't be located. Great. Why not? Why not? It's just right there. It's right there. It's right there. Okay. Let's assert. No, well, I think it's already asserting. Assert mesh material. Yeah. Let's just in case, I'm gonna assert that wheel material is valid. Just in case. And then I set, did I forget to add the float? UV offset. Maybe that's the, yeah, I always get confused about my, did I also save this? I did. Is it maybe trying to set the float into, whoops, not that. No, 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 don't launch Firefox. Okay. Yeah, the wheel should be offset. It should definitely be offset. So I don't know what is going on here. Oh yeah, I should have tested actually. I should have tried to see if I have the parameters or not. Do I have the parameters? Because I can inspect whether my assets materials will tarmac properties. It only has 2 properties. Okay, so I think I actually need to add the float explicitly. Okay, is it gonna go to definition now? Oh, amazing. Okay, wheel mat. I'm gonna dot add float, because you need to explicitly add a uniform, I think. And that's gonna be my UV. Where was it? What's the name of it? It's called UV offset. But the question is, which shader receives this uniform, right? Which shader is it? If when I say bind uniforms, bind uniforms. Okay, it sets to the shader, but which shader? The whole thing, I guess. Set float. Yeah, it sets to the same program. Okay, so there's not a difference between like a vertex and a fragment, I guess. Okay, and I'm gonna add 0. Let's see if that works. Ah, there it is. There it is. It works. It works, but it's also added to the body. Yeah. So there is a little bit of a problem, and that is that. Yeah, that actually looks kind of cool. It's like a camouflage. Yeah, I know what happens. The problem is that it's using the same shader. And then if you don't assign the uniforms explicitly, I definitely have to change this. To make sure that the uniforms get assigned explicitly. Because by default, if you don't add a uniform, as I call it, into my engine, if you don't add the uniform, then it's just assumed that it doesn't exist. So it doesn't attempt to set the uniforms. Yeah. So the problem is that if you have another thing that sets that, it kind of like leaks whatever else is using the same material, you need to set the float. You need to add the float to itself. because it will then reuse the same one. So like this material leaks the value of 0.5. So that's why I actually need to go through all the car materials. Okay. Set wheels to the car. Where is the... Yeah, well, I do only have one. No, I don't have. I have more materials. Create convex. Okay, where do I actually copy these headlights? I could add to every material. Oh, for each car material. Add vector shadow. There it is. Okay. So basically for each car material, there it is. I can just add a float. And that's going to be UV. Can I just, yeah. UV offset 0. That's basically it, right? I hope so. Yeah, then I don't need to add floats here. Hopefully. Hopefully I don't need to add a float to the, what is it called, the wheel mat. This should be before. Okay, there it is. And it still doesn't work. Let's check. Let's check all the materials. Okay, wheel snow, there it is. It doesn't actually show me the property. Body. UV offset, float 0. It definitely shows me that there is an UV offset. Windows, UV offset. It does have a window UV offset. Okay, so for some reason, for the wheels, it doesn't add this material. Tarmac. UV offset. There's no UV offset. Okay, so I do have to actually add it explicitly. There it is. Okay, we finally have something. We have successfully offset only one object. Okay, so now if I actually use the other wheel, or should I, well, which one? This is the config that I'm using, right? So spec, yeah, let's go with spec snow. And it's gonna crash. Yeah, I knew it. Because there was just a ton of warnings. Wheel object not found. It must exist. Yeah, there's too many things missing for some reason. I know what the problem is. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna add the name of it as well, just to make sure. Okay, I'm gonna push this one, and for the body, ending on, well, this should be body. Okay, well, this is a static thing, so I'm gonna just edit this. So what does it say? Why doesn't it work? Okay. Wheel object added on wheel snow not found. Did I call it differently? Wheel snow. It's called wheel snow. Strange. Why doesn't it see it then? Is it using a wrong object? Interesting. Okay, there's some kind of a bug here. Config spec snow, definitely that. And res cars spec 17 spec snow wheel snow. That's the object. Okay, let's oh, wait a minute. Am I using a GLTF? Ah, I'm using a GLTF. This is why I should actually remove this one. Interestingly, that GLTF is like almost the same size. It's probably because of the binary data, the new textures and stuff. Okay, yeah, this was the problem. But yeah, there's a ton of missing parameters as well, which is okay. Okay, let's see. Is it blurred? It is blurred. That's a good sign. That means the edge is terrible. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to fire these at different speeds. So do I actually have wheel velocity somewhere? You know what? I'm gonna use arrays. I'm just gonna use an array. I guess up to 8 interpolators or something like that. And then we can have this look sweet. Well, yeah, it does look sweet, but it's you know, it's just a fixed blur. It's not really working at speed or at... Okay, well, here's the thing I can try. For the beginning, for the start, I can simply say some kind of... yeah, the problem is that I have no idea what the speed of the wheel is. So, okay, let's see. Let's see. I'm gonna... Yeah, let's just do... Okay, for the beginning, let me just do the a very simple blend, just to see if it works, right? Set float, where was that? Set float UV offset. Okay, so I'm just gonna do like if car wheel. So how do I get the wheel velocity? maybe it's the MP car. Wheel velo, there it is. If it's less than 1. I don't know what the wheel velo is. I think it's completely imaginary. Let's see. Is it in radians or something? It might be in radians actually. So yeah, let's do like 0, and else it's gonna be 0.25. No, 0.5. Let's go with 0.5. Let's go with the second step. Something like this. Okay. So basically now I'm setting the float, right, if below the speed. So yeah, when I'm static, it should be clear. When I'm in the speed, it should blur out. For the beginning, right? For the start. All right, so let's see. Stopped. There it is. It's completely clear. Starts moving. Oh, it already blurs out. There we go. We have blurring. It works. We're simply offsetting the UV and, you know, changing the texture. Looks cool. Looks cool, but it's way too small. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably radians per second, so 1 radian per second is way too small. Yeah. For the... Okay, and yeah, I can't even go so slow, right? Okay, it does switch around here somewhere. It's still blurred, even if this very slow speed. There it is. Now it starts. Now it's not blurred. But yeah, there it is. Now I just have to blend between the different values. Okay, so here is how I'm gonna implement this. Okay, well, let's first say that let's submit everything. Monty map, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. Blurred wheel motion blur initial, let's call that. Working to steps. There we go. Okay, so now that we have that, so what I want to do now is I want to have some kind of array of values, right? I could actually have, yeah, let's just have an array of values. It's not that difficult. So what I want to do is in this thing, graphics, in my game data, car audio, physics car. Okay, so this is the audio. Before audio, I'm gonna just put it here. Let's say that these are, it's gonna be a vector, no. Let's just do an array. Std array of floats. Okay. And those floats are gonna be called blending wheel motion blur weights, thresholds or something like that. Thresholds. Okay, and at the beginning I might do like 0, 1, 2, 4, 8. Yeah, that's gonna be also, let's do 8 of them. Looks sweet. Yeah, thanks. And yeah, let me do something like 0, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 22. No, what's the double of 64, 128, right? No, that's too much. That's too much. This is 8. Okay. So what this means, well, actually the 0 is already a 0, right? So I can have, yeah, it can have up to 8 values, but actually 0 is 0 always. Yeah, let me think about that later. So for all of these motion blur thresholds, okay, I'm gonna do a, let's go into GUI, okay? And in the GUI, I have somewhere surface test. What are all these? Show HUD. This is the HUD. Rendering. Okay, what are these windows? This is car parameters. Car parameters, but GUI parameters. Tire outputs, surfaces, rendering. Yeah, let's put it in the rendering. So let's see, can I actually put, is there an array? Something. Float, drag float 4, drag float. There is a 4 value. I could do a 4 value. But yeah, no, here's what I'm gonna do. Okay, I have an idea. Yeah, I forgot to add one more value, which is gonna be the steps, the number of steps. Let's do motion blur, and yeah, I'm gonna call this, it's gonna be an integer, and it's gonna be wheel motion blur steps, right? And that's gonna be initialized to 4. Okay, and then I'm gonna go into the this thing, and I'm gonna say, okay, if game, no, it's not gonna be if, it's gonna be 4. And well, first off, I have to clamp it just to make sure. So I'm gonna say that game wheel motion blur steps is, I'm gonna use my own clamp, which is this one. It's gonna be between, yeah, it's gonna be self wheel motion blur steps from 0 to 8, right? Make sure that it never goes over 8. That's one thing. The other thing is that I'm gonna do the wheel motion blur. You know what? I just realized something. That this should actually be in the GUI as well. So if I say, you know what? I'm gonna just write a text. I'm gonna say wheel motion blur. And I'm gonna add a slider, slider int, and this slider is gonna be the, I'm just gonna call it blur steps, and it's gonna be this one. But I can actually limit it in here. I should be able to do it. No, this is wheel motion blur steps. And yeah, you can actually say minus, yeah, max from 0 to 8. And then I don't think I need this clamping. I'm going to keep it for a moment. But here it is. So I just do that, and I'm going to just draw a float, slider float, okay, and the slider is gonna be, shit. I need to do this thing with the IDs. I can't remember how that works. Is the anti-case slider gonna do it? Oh no, you need to have a certain... Wait a minute, is this going to work? What's anti-K drag? And I'm just gonna do game wheel motion blur thresholds and I. Is that gonna work? So maybe this is gonna be becoming a like a 0, 1. Let's see. So yeah, then what I'm gonna do here is when I'm actually drawing, yeah, I should put the motion blur tag. When I'm actually drawing everything, yeah, let's say draw. No, that doesn't exist. Drawing. Blob. I'm gonna do here. No, it's not this one. It's wait, where am I drawing? Blob. Curve material. There it is. Okay, motion blur. Let's just call it blur. Okay. So instead of this simple thing, I'm just gonna instead have the velocity, and I need to find which threshold it has crossed, right? How do I do that? I need to go from the back. No, because if it crosses 1, yeah, I just check basically I just do a for loop then. I just go for a for, and the size is actually going to be game dot what is it again? Motion blur steps, right? And that's gonna be an int, so it doesn't complain. Oh, it's gonna be an int, so that it doesn't complain. What the hell? Okay, just end the, yeah, okay, thank you. And now I'm just gonna switch between the UV offsets as I do here, but I need to check if pcar wheel velocity is more than game wheel motion blur thresholds. Then I'm simply gonna set the offset to but it needs to be converted to float. Static cast float. We need to convert it to float and then divide by game wheel motion blur steps. Yeah, so basically that is gonna happen, and after this I'm gonna break the for loop. So if it's more than oh yeah, this is a problem, because everything is gonna be more than 0, right? That is why I need to go from the end. That's why I need to go at the start. So yeah, I basically am at the end, and then I do an inverse loop, right? And instead of less than, it's going to be more than equals 0. Yeah. And the thing is that this might, yeah, this is definitely going to end, but it's not going to set if it doesn't exist. Unless I go ahead one, and then I do a less than, right? I could even do that. I could do a less than wheel motion blur thresholds, and then go to the first one instead. Oh, and then I think I should not allow. Yeah. Yeah, let's actually do that. Or maybe not. I think this is going to work as well. Less than 0, it's not less than 0. Less than 1. Less than 1. Yeah, actually. No, here it is. Here. Yeah, I made a mistake. I should have actually done this. Because motion blur thresholds, right? Steps is 4. The number of steps, but the first one is 0 anyway. So I'm not gonna put it in here. Oh, and I think that I also need to put it into absolute. That's something that I completely forgot, because if you go to reverse the wheel velocity, right? If you have here, I need to do the abs as well. So, if the wheel velocity is less than this, make it blended, right? But here's the thing. It actually needs to be... Yeah, let's do now a for loop, a normal for loop. Between ints and until game wheel motion blur thresholds. No, it should be steps, but -1, because this is actually never gonna be 0. Here I have to find this wheel motion blur, and yeah, let's clamp it to 1 just to make sure. Okay. So yeah, here now we have for each of the blur steps. The first one is like, okay, is it gonna be 0? Is it gonna be less than this? Right? We start from the first one. Yeah, maybe I should always set to 0. That's the thing. Before everything. So if it's less, no, it should be if it's more than the threshold. Okay, I made it. What the hell? This should be super simple. What is wrong with my brain? I have to paint this. I don't feel I don't know. I'm actually not really in the programming mood right now, because I'm thinking about all the things that I need to do today. Other than programming. But I want to finish this. So yeah, basically this is what we have, right? We have the velocity. This is velocity. And you know, this is the first threshold. This is threshold 1. This is threshold 2. This is threshold 4. This is threshold 8 here. Let's extend this. And basically what I need to check, okay, if the velocity is here, if the velocity, whoops. If the velocity is here, sorry about that ping, that was my cup, my coffee cup hitting the microphone. If it's here, it's 0, right? If it's here, it's 1. If it's here, it's 2. So, basically what I need to do is I need to say, okay, well, if this velocity is more than this, is it more? Is x more than this? No, it's not. Else 0, right? Else 0. And then I say, okay, it is more, but I need to check if it's between 1 and 2, right? So actually I need to check for each of these. But no, what if I turn it to less than, right? If it's less than first, then it's 0. If it's less than 2, yeah, this is why it makes sense to like go from the back, but it shouldn't matter, because if I go from the back I say, okay, well, is the speed less than this? And I can flip it around and I can make it more than 0. If it's more than the first one, yeah, this is what I was doing here, at 0. Okay, and then I go to the next one. I say, okay, is it if it's here, I say, okay, is it more than 1? It is. End it. So that's not a bad that's a bad solution, right? Because it's always going to be blurred with the first step. So instead, I need to check, okay, is it less than 1? It's not. Is it less than 2? Sorry, if it's this is 0 actually. This is 0, 1, 2. Is it less than 0? It is. It's not. Okay, let's go with this point. Is it less than 1, 0? No. Okay. Is it less than 1? Yes. Is it less than 2? Then it's 2. Okay. Yeah, this is basically it then. If it's less than, well, this is actually what I did already. If it's less than 1, then it's just that. Okay, well, I've already done it. I don't know why I was complicating it. Motion blur steps -1. Yeah, I go all the way to the end. But the blur steps is actually 4 blur steps is actually 3. So I have to go until 2. Something like that. Right? That would make sense because because this is 0 threshold, this is 1 threshold, this is 2, and this is 3. Or no, I actually check which segment it is. So, okay, but I have one more, right? So I say, okay, is it less than 1? Is it less than 0? No. Is it less than 1? No. Is it less than 2? No. Is it less than 3? Yeah, okay, so there is actually 4 of them. Okay, let's see if this works. But I also want to make it so that, oh yeah, you know what? Let's actually add let's actually calculate which blur step will add blur step, and I'm gonna make it 0, but I'm gonna check it here. Will add blur step is I, so that I can output it in the GUI. Okay, so I can modify each of these, right? But I'm also gonna say name GUI. Yeah, I can actually do it here. At and %f, I think. No, %i, and it's gonna be wheel at blur step. There it is. Okay. Yeah, let's see if that works. And then, of course, at the end, I'm going to have to save it into a file, into a CFG. Man, I made it so much. Oh, signed, unsigned mismatch. This should be an int. Initializing conversion. I made some mistake. Okay, so let's see. Will it work? All right, so at 0, it's 1. Okay, and then I'm speeding up, and I don't see any differences. So let's see. Okay, where is my car parameters? No, it's not car parameters. Rendering. Okay, there it is. We have our values. Oh, and they all map to the same thing. Why? Oh, because it's the name is the I. Interesting that they actually mapped the same value, but they offset in a wrong way. Okay. And for some reason it's still... Did I forget to disable the old one? Yeah, and you can increase the blur steps. Yeah, that also doesn't do anything. Okay, so what did I do wrong? Did I keep the old one afterwards? I must have been doing that. Blur. Yes. I'm actually setting it afterwards. Great. Okay. So yeah, for some reason it doesn't work with this one. Okay, so I can't remember how does it actually work when you have multiple strings. I did have some kind of an ID helper, I remember. Creates a unique ID. What am I doing here? Yeah, it's this one. I need to keep it imgui float drag float. Okay, I need to call it with yeah, I'm just going to convert the I into a string. Can you do that? No. What's that? No. Okay. To string. Okay, that should work. To string and then sister. I hope this works. And then I'm gonna do that one. Or maybe I can FMT. Like this one. And we're gonna have that. And it does need sister. So there we go. I think that should be it. And there should be a reference. Okay. Hopefully that. So the thing is that imGUI uses the string for the identifier. That is why the GUI was like the same for all the sliders, because it thinks that it's the same handle. because it uses just the hash of string, I think, for its ID. Okay, so let's see. Shadow rendering. Okay, so now it should work, right? There should be 4 steps. One, is there, do I see any difference? I don't know. Maybe it's too quickly blends. Yeah, I think it too quickly blends between all of them. So let's see. Step 0. Yeah, now I can modify them, right? So if I say, okay, now you see there is a lot of speed needs to be gained. So this is actually like 2. Okay, let's see, maybe 3. Okay, if I go with 4, that's already too late. Yeah, this should be... yeah, if you change the number of steps, it completely fucks it up. Which I just did. Okay, but here's the thing. It shouldn't be completely fucked up like this. What the hell? Oh yeah, well, it just had to change for a moment. Okay, this, by the way, is way too small. Okay, so let's go with 3. Oh, Jesus, why is it? Okay, 3. And then I'm gonna go with 6. Let's see. So, here, no motion blur. Some motion blur. And at 6, okay, I think that's... might work. Oh yeah, do I have it at steps at 0? Yeah, this should be at 1. What is going on? Okay, I'm not doing something correctly. Am I not? Yeah, why is it outputting wheel at blur step? It should be I. Okay, let's see. If I reduce, where is it? This disappearing mouse is kind of annoying. Yeah, I don't know why it says 0 all the time. Now it says 2, but at the bottom. Yeah, the problem is that I don't see I don't see which one is which now. But that actually looks great. I don't know if I'm even using any of the other ones. That's the thing. Because I don't see much of a difference. I need to paint them or something. Red, green, blue. So that I can see any difference. But this does look good. Yeah, and the thing is that, okay, I can actually, if I restart, okay, let's go with this. Stop, go, going fast. Here's the thing, I can actually, if I restart and I go into slow motion, I will be able to see the switching. Wow. Oh, there it is. The switch. I did see the switching between the two of them, but it seems to be way too small. Okay, let's wait for the stop. At the beginning I stop. Okay, and then I slowly start. Okay, let's see if I can notice any switching. Oh, there it is. It's 4 steps, but they happen too fast. They happen too fast. That's the problem. So it's not even this. It should be even more. Okay, let's do something like this. So what about now? Okay, first step, through. Oh, happens too fast again. Is it even working? Okay, it definitely works because the step is. Okay. Maybe something like this. Okay, let's see. Wait. Okay, I have to restart again. Okay, go. Fast. Yeah, it's still this add thing doesn't work at all. Okay. One last time. Come on. Come on, go. Okay, there it is. First step. This is all the first step. And the GUI says it's at 1. So it's correct. There it is 2. There it is. It's at 2. Okay. So there's some problem with this this number in the GUI. I don't know why it shows the wrong thing. And at 0, and now it's only at 0. So it never goes to the third one, I think. To the last one, actually. Yeah. That must be the problem. Okay, so what am I doing here? If I go until, yeah, if I go, okay, it says, is it less than, is it less than this? The first one, it is. Is it, oh, well, this is not the first one, this is the 0th one. So yeah, it is the 0th one. Making this physically based would remove doubt and need for tweaking. Would require being able to tell Photoshop blur as if spinning the speed with this frame rate and getting the actual radians per second speed of the... But after that, the texture offset would be a trivial expression of the wheel speed. Yeah. It would be nice, but you still have the... You would still have to do this. At some point, just the way that you generate the numbers would be different. The last one should actually be infinite. That's the thing. Also, this is the first one, right? The first value. Yeah, it does actually make sense that this should be the 0. 0. And then we go to the first one. Is it less? It is. It's not. Okay, then we go to the second step. Is it less? No. We go to the third step. Yeah, the fourth step doesn't actually matter. Zero, 1, 2, and then the fourth step should not have a threshold at all. The fourth step should just be like is it less than infinity, Yeah, because then this doesn't get... here is the problem. I think this needs to be... This always needs to be... Yeah, okay, yeah, I made a mistake. I figured it out. So yeah, the thing is that I'm presetting this to 0, right? Like every normal person. But the thing is that this needs to be preset to the maximum, because if none of the thresholds is below any of the thresholds, it became 0. So the topmost was like 0. But actually it should be at the topmost. That is why the GUI was outputting 0 all the time when it was going really fast. Yeah, so something like this. UV offset is floor log to scale. Yeah, you could do that. Yeah. All right, so yeah, let's go to rendering, and there it is at 3, right? It's already at 3. It's the last one. So yeah, I need to increase this one. If I put it to... Okay. First one should be... okay. And even this is wrong. Because the last one should be the last one, right? Okay, well, here's what I'm gonna do. Instead of this, I'm gonna just set it here, right? And this is gonna be blur at blur step. All right. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So, we have what it is. What is it? Yeah, let's go with something like much higher offset here. Okay, so we have 0, we have 1, It already happens way too quickly, I feel. This is 1, this is 2, 3. And, oh yeah, 3 is the maximum, I forgot. Even in the first gear, it's like, yeah, maybe I should even reduce it more. I like the first one, but everything else needs to be pushed more, I think. Okay, so this is the first one. Yeah, something like this. Okay, maybe something like this is okay. So the first threshold, 10. Right, very beginning. But it feels to me like maybe it should be more, I don't know. No, it should be less. I like that, I like the tweaking by hand, you know? Okay, let's do that. 12, 35, 80, 160. 12, 35, 80. So yeah, let's go with 12, 35, 80, 160, something like that. And then for the rest, I don't know. We can just do like this because, you know, maybe somebody would want to have more steps, but I don't want for now. So yeah. That's going to be fine. Okay, so I want to be able to also save that into the car file. But yeah, for now, let's just do this. And yeah, there it is. We have motion blur, but I do want to also add that into the config file, right? Add wheel thresholds to config. Okay. Yeah, I like the elegance of physics-based approaches, but sometimes they lock you in and prevent you from making artistic choices. Yeah. Okay, there we go. But yeah, maybe the first step is too long for now. I don't know. But hey, not bad. Not bad for the snow tire. Now I have to do the same for the rest. Kind of looking cool. Oh yeah, when you're in the air and you brake, what happens then? In the air and I brake. Oh, it takes forever to stop it. Why is that? What's my drivetrain inertia? Drivetrain inertia, it's 5. Oh, and it should be a lot smaller. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I got this wrong. I got this wrong a long time ago. And now my Monty physics is kind of locked in into that low inertia. But I actually fixed it in Finland. So in Finland, it does use a lot lower inertia. So yeah, that is why you like, if you're in the air, right, and you press on the brakes, the wheels should basically stop instantly because wheels have little mass. There it is. Well, it's not perfectly. It's not perfect. But they should stop basically. Because you're not touching anything. Okay, well, okay. So that's a wrong thing about my. Okay, let me try to flip around and see this. I think that's a problem in my code. That when the it's hard to flip the car intentionally. Come on, flip. No, don't go back. Don't go back. Okay, when I press the brake. Yeah, what the fuck? When you press the brake, it should stop. Oh, it doesn't because it's because of the engine. Right, because the engine is always rolling. So I have to press the clutch. Ah, there it is. Okay, now it makes sense. Now it makes sense. I need to press the clutch because the clutch doesn't get pressed automatically. Yeah. So when I press the clutch and then brake, there it is. Then it stops and it glides all the way to the end. Nice. Nice save. Okay, cool. Well, there it is. We have wheel blur. But now I would like to add it to the, as I said, to the config. Okay, let's call this a speed-based multiple blur steps switching. Okay, and finally, I want to find the car config. In the car config, it's going to be so yeah, in the car config, I'm going to register physics, mass, where it should be, geometry, audio, tire. Yeah, let's put it actually at the end. So I'm gonna say CFG. Oh yeah, that's gonna be blurring, and we're gonna have a register blur steps. It should be called motion blur steps, right? Yeah, let's call it wheel motion blur steps. Can I register? Yeah, I forgot if I need to provide a span size. Probably not. Register. Yeah, no, this is the game. Wheel motion blur steps. Okay. And then we have the span, register span. Wheel motion blur thresholds. And the span is going to be wheel thresholds. Yeah, something like this. But when I register the span, I take the length as well, right? Segment size. Yeah, the data is the span, and span contains the size as well. So it always needs to be 8, even if I'm not using 8. Yeah, I wonder how it's gonna work. Yeah, I need to check that. I need to make sure. Okay, so for the snow car, let's add these. Let's say that, yeah, okay, we're gonna add wheel motion blur. So what are the things? Wheel motion blur steps equals 4. And we then have the thresholds as well. And those thresholds are these by default. Okay, so hopefully that loads. Let's try. I have to press the clutch. Yeah, so so here's the thing. I don't know actually how in real life you stop the car completely, like especially with the dog clutch that WRC cars have. So there must be some kind of an automatic clutch going on, because when you stop completely, if you stop the wheels because the engine is coupled, it will stop the engine. So that is why I actually automatically turn on. You see this yellow? That's the clutch, and that's the automatic clutch. So it will actually engage once you're at the slow speed, right? But that automatic clutch doesn't actually happen when you're in the air, right? So I do actually need to maybe check, like, if I'm in the air. Yeah, something like that. Because right now, man, it just runs so slow. Okay, probably because of Photoshop and everything. I have no clue either. I don't often fly with my car. Yeah, because if you're flying and you step on the brake, like your engine should turn off, right? If it locks the wheels, because it's completely coupled. In a real car, I guess the clutch is a lot softer, so it wouldn't stop the engine right away. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, let's see if it actually successfully found config car audio. Start with headlights on. It did find, looks like. Okay. So let's see what happens. Okay, so if I change the parameter, right? I say one of those. I say step 0 is gonna be 6. Okay, and I say save car parameters. Okay, so what happens now? It just fell off the map. Did it overwrite? Oh, look at that. It did. It did actually work. That's cool. Okay, but oh, it also it added all the things that I was actually missing in the snow car. Oh yeah, because I'm also missing the side parameters. Right, and there's the car audio, which I was missing, right? So I just added all these things, and drive inertia as well. Yeah, okay, I need to add these, but I'm gonna add these later actually. So cool, it actually overwrote this one, which is good, but I'm gonna keep it at 12. Cool. Okay, so I want to actually check if what happens if I remove these. Is it gonna register the span correctly? Is it gonna break? Is it gonna crash? Because it's gonna try to write into a 4-sized. Well, actually, it might load. Yeah, I think it just loads correctly. Warning. There's no checks about size. Okay, and what happens if I save? If I say save, there's no problem. No problem. Okay, so I guess, yeah, I guess what happens is just it registered the whole thing. Oh yeah, there it is. It actually added the numbers. Cool. Okay, so yeah, it can read only 4 numbers, but then it will add more numbers. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem because I also need to use that for gear ratios. So if I make this, yeah, I might actually need to add this some kind of a count that can be registered as well. Because then if I put the gear ratios to like 8, it will always fill up everything else with zeros or something, which can be annoying. Okay, yeah, and right now I don't have the number of gears. It's fixed to this number of gears, which is 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 forward gears and 1 reverse gear and the neutral. Okay, anyway, there we go. We have the blur. Okay, let's build. Let's finish off by building the release version and then testing it out on the other maps, although it doesn't work. Yeah, because I don't have the rest. I don't have the others. I haven't made it. So I'm just gonna test it with the snow wheel. And then once I'm off stream, I'm gonna turn all the others into proper blurred wheels as well, because Photoshop is just so slow. Okay, let me actually kill it. Okay, so there we go. It's a release. It works. Okay, let's go to Finland. And by the way, I have a feeling like I made a wrong default because now I've broken all the others, right? Because this is gonna be blurred. Oh wait. Oh, I am actually already using ice. Okay, good. But yeah, let's go to tarmac. Let's go to tarmac rally and see what happens there. Yeah, it looks fine, but actually it completely gets fucked up at speed. Yeah, because I'm using 4 by default. Actually, I should actually put 1 as a default for everything, because there shouldn't be any blurred wheels by default, unless I specify it explicitly, right? Yeah. But yeah. Okay, let's drive around Finland a little and then end the stream. This was a very successful stream. Done a lot. You can see the cool blurred wheels from the side. And is this actually a gravel car or is this a snow car? Now I'm not sure. I think this is a snow car because the grip is Yeah, I can actually test with if I check the inertia. Drive impulse. Oh, drive inertia is 2. No, this is actually the gravel car. I'm just using the model of an ice. Okay. Then it is good. Okay, there we go. And the funny thing is I can't hear anything. Okay, there it is. Now I can hear what I'm doing. Okay, let's do a nice run. Let's do a nice run. And then we can watch the replay. Oh yeah, there's one thing that I actually did in the meantime. If you look at the lower left corner where the inputs are, the input GUI, the little rectangles, I actually made it so that when you release a button, because I'm on the keyboard, when you release the button it actually goes back to 0 immediately, because that was causing an additional lag to the controls previously. And I hit the tree there. And now there is no such thing. So that's good. I still have to rework the automatic transmission because it doesn't go down to the right, to the lower gear when needed. That was a good slide. I'm still 6 seconds slower than usual. Than my record. Okay, almost there. Almost at the end. I hate the ending. It's just the worst. There we go. Okay, just 8.5 seconds slower than my best. Okay. So yeah, let's look at some cool. I missed the cool start. Okay, let's go back. Look at this. Nice blurry wheels. Let's see when it comes to the corner from the terrace. It should slow down the wheels here. Well, I was too fast. Okay, wait, there was a little hit that I had with the tree. There it is. Oh, I fell off the track. That was the problem. Boom. Yeah, you can see here the wheels getting less blurry. Boom. They never go to unblurred, but they are less blurry. And there, this is the maximum, I think. Right? Is this the maximum? Wheel motion blur at 2. And there it is, this is the maximum. Yeah, pretty cool. Okay, well, that's about it. This bitrate Kregasm. Okay. Thank you, I don't know. Yeah, thank you for watching. We added some motion blur, which is super cool. Looks nice. Looks very nice. And yeah, I talked to you about the problems of the physics problems that I have, trying to remake the handling. But yeah, I definitely need, for example, this stretch is super fast, right? And once I add aerodynamics, that's gonna help a lot. It's gonna help a lot getting stuck to the ground. But yeah, the thing is that the Finland track is very smooth anyway, so that's not the problem. The problem is in Monte Carlo, because yeah, that thing is slid off the track. Nice hit. That sign. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Anyway. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for watching. I'll be on this next stream, maybe even tomorrow. I think that tomorrow I might be here. And yeah, there's a lot of things to do. I am planning to release the next build definitely before the real life Monte Carlo rally. And yeah, I am planning to improve the Monte Carlo after such a long time, after almost a year of not doing anything on it. I want to improve it and add more props, add more everything that is missing. And I was also thinking about adding more roads, but I'm not sure about that. I'll see. Anyway, anyway, oh yeah, you know what? Here's a cool thing. I can go into the camera. Okay, let's also go back to the beginning. I can go back to the camera. And I can, oops, not the debug. Where is the camera? Camera. Onboard position. Okay, let's do this. I like to do this. And then you can see the wheel. Yeah. And now when you start. Nice. There we go. I can't actually turn the camera because it only has... Oh, what is this red line? Is this some kind of a compression bug? It looks like there's a red line in the middle. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, I just want to turn off the rendering. Where is my render toggles frame buffer? So there's no frame buffer. Yeah, it looks like it is one of those pixel crunching problems. I can push it back a bit. I can push the camera back, but I can't actually move it. I can't rotate it. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Pretty cool. Okay. Yeah. Well, time to get off the stream and oh, what? Wait. What? What? For a moment. For a moment, the wheel went up in the air. Did you see it? I saw it for one frame. Oh, and by the way, there is a seam. I'm pretty sure that for one frame, the wheel like went up in the air. I don't know what happened there. Maybe it was the wheel was colliding with the checkpoint or something. But anyway, yeah. Oh, there it is. There it was again. What the fuck? Where was it? This is some kind of a... I don't know. Oh, there it was. It was definitely somewhere here. It must have been colliding with the checkpoint or something. I don't know what was that. I didn't notice that before. But yeah, there it is. Looks pretty dynamic. I definitely need to add cameras, you know, pointing into wheels and stuff. Like onboard, additional onboard cameras basically. Because it just looks cool. Okay. Nice clean wheel and then blurred. Pretty cool. Yeah, maybe it's a little bit too much blurring. Like the thresholds are too low. I don't know. But anyway, that looks great. And yeah, thanks again. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow most likely. Yeah. Yeah. I'll announce what I'm gonna be working on. I completely forgot, but yeah, I need to do a lot of car refactoring and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm glad this works. See you next time. Bye. Oh, hello Wallabear, by the way. Love your games. Always love them. Oh yeah, by the way, I did remember both this. Oh, same to you. Both this and the space station game are looking amazing. Oh, thank you. Thanks a lot. I just remembered what I wanted to make next. I wanted to make basically saving your replays. Yeah, that is what I want to do. So that you can load them, save them, save them into files and load them later for review. Because that would be pretty useful to have as like a reference for sharing. Anyway, yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, see you next time. I've already said it 10 times. Bye.